Hi, I'm Shane. Today we'll be using our 78-inch land planer. A few of the features I'd like to point out on this land planer. To start with, the frame itself. It's a 78-inch wide working width. That means the cutting edges are a full 78-inch wide, so they'll cover most tracks on larger skid steer loaders. The frame itself is built very heavy. Obviously, you're doing digging applications, not only with the teeth, but also you're grading on the front and the back. So you have to have the whole structure be very strong, very stiff. And what we've done to accomplish that is we've tied in the mounting plate to each of these elements using 1/2-inch plate steel. Now the thickness, the depth of this plate steel right here is 4 inches wide. So that's going to tie in the front and the back very rigidly, give you a lot of strength for cutting both on the front and the back. The cutting edge elements are actually a 1/2-inch by 6 cutting edge topped with a piece of angle iron that runs the full width, and those two pieces are welded together to give them a lot of stiffness. That's the same on the back side as well. On the front, you can see that we've installed the optional grates. These grates work very well for carrying dirt, sifting rocks and material out of dirt, or helps you give a nice finish when you back drag. So a lot of times the last pass will be back dragging to wipe out your tracks, and this grate here will help distribute the dirt better, more evenly, and keep the rocks from sifting over the cutting edge. We also show the optional digging teeth here. These teeth are tipped with 1/2-inch thick AR 400 steel. It's 1.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches long. These are easily replaceable if they'd ever wear out, but they're going to last a long time because they're made out of that abrasion-resistant material. They're welded to a 1/2-inch plate steel here that is welded to a heavy wall 2.5-inch tube. In the down position, these rest against the cutting edge, so you're pushing actually from the cutting edge, not so much from the tube itself. And the tooth has a special shape. Because of how they're used, the hydraulic cylinder is used just to raise the tooth. In the down position, they're meant to float. What that means is when you drive forward, the tooth will be cutting, but when you go back, when you back drag, the tooth will rotate freely and just float on the ground. So you're not digging during the back stroke, you're only going to be digging during the frontward stroke. So we also switched loaders here. I wanted to show that it doesn't take too much power to cut with these teeth. So we've switched to a 75 Kubota with wheels, and we're going to see how that works in terms of traction. I don't think it's going to be an issue. With the Bobcat, I was just running at mid-throttle. It doesn't take a lot of power in that soil that's been tilled last fall. But this should be probably the hardest conditions for digging, and we'll show how easy it is for these teeth to penetrate. What we're going to try now is to recondition a driveway here that's mostly gravel. It hasn't been touched for quite a while, so you can see it's got wheel ruts that hold water on each side. What I'm going to do is dig the road up first, and then on the back passes start leveling it out. I don't know how many passes it's going to take, at least 3 or 4 I'm guessing. The road is wider than the attachment, obviously, but I'm going to try to cut the high spots down and basically get it level. Okay, so we just finished a quick project here on this driveway to try to recondition it a little bit. The results are fairly good. They're not perfect. The digging wasn't an issue. It was fairly easy to dig. There's a good ratio of sand and gravel in here, no big rocks. The bulges or the humps on each side were bigger than I anticipated, and there are a lot of sod in it, so that kind of makes it tougher to make the edge look well. But I can feather that out with a hand rake or something. But the middle of the road got nice and flat. You can see leaves a nice finish, firms it up. When you back drag, it's a lot like a bucket. You're using the front cutting edge to back drag and to firm, to compress the soil. I wanted to point out that I did a little bit of flattening or leveling with the back cutting edge too. You can actually put the heel down and drive forward to do the same thing as back dragging like you would with a bucket. And when you actually drive backwards, you can cut with the back cutting edge too if you want to. These cutting edges are just set slightly below grade so that you can cut on either end. Okay, so I've come out into a bean field that has a washout in it to try to simulate what it might be like to do some dirt work around a new development, maybe where you might get washouts. This area has a lot of rock in it, so it might be a little tougher digging. But what I'm going to do is try to work up and down the ditch while digging to loosen the soil, and then I'm going to come back and back drag probably with the direction of the ditch to see if I can get it smoothed out again and get rid of the washout that's in the center. So we just finished our little washout project here. It worked better than I thought, actually. It took only 4 rounds to get it worked up. There's a ton of rock in here, so it didn't, I mean, the finish isn't very good looking, but that's just the nature of the soil here. One other thing I wanted to point out was that these grates are really handy for moving topsoil if you need to fill in a low spot. So we're going to go over here and grab a chunk of dirt, kind of like a bucket, and pick it up and dump it into a rut to show you that you can pick up and move dirt with this grate pretty handily. In the middle section of the frame, we have these bent 3/8 inch plate steel pieces that are welded in. Not only do they support the backside of the grate, but they're also placed at an angle, and that is so that when you back drag, it captures the dirt and effectively flattens it out, so you're going to fill in the low spots and make a nice level surface. A lot of times when you travel to a job site, you want to carry more than one piece of equipment. A lot of times people want to bring a bucket with as well. We have these special tabs here in the middle to help capture a low pro bucket that you can slide in and set right on these bars right in the front here. You can strap them together for trailering purposes. Okay, for our last project today, I'm going to shave the edge of this field road off. It's pretty heavy sod. It hasn't been mowed. We did rough it up a little bit with the soil conditioner earlier, but I'm going to show that you can dig into sod and level that out. And for this operation, I've taken the grates out of the frame just because I think the sod is probably going to get too gummed up in there and plug things up. So I took the grates out, and we're going to see how that works. Be sure to check back later as we do more videos. Give us a call or check our website if you have any questions.